This Saturday then sees the coronation of King Charles and Queen Camilla. Many of us will watch the service on TV or perhaps on one of the many outdoor screens being put up. But one person will have a better view than almost anyone. Positioned at the King's shoulder throughout the ceremony will be the Bishop of Durham. It's a tradition that goes back nearly 1,000 years. So how is the present Bishop, the Right Reverend Paul Butler, feeling about the prospect? Jerry Jackson has been to meet him.
Hard to believe now, but 70 years ago, many in power didn't want the Queen's coronation televised. Of course it was, and millions of us have grown up knowing how these sacred scenes play out. Since 1189, the figure at the monarch's right shoulder has always been the Bishop of Durham. In 1953, it was Michael Ramsey. This time, Paul Butler will be the man with the closest of vantage points as history is made.
In the week leading up to the coronation itself, there's a lot of rehearsals, including with the King and Queen. And the great thing, of course, is Westminster Abbey are fantastically good at doing this. They will make sure that we all know what we're doing.
No surprise then that the Bishop is more familiar than most with the film of the long ceremony and its crowning moment.
Here the Queen was being given the sceptre, and then she'll be given the orb, and then it will move to the crowning. And the cameras did manage to cut to the royal family watching. And there comes this moment where the Archbishop lifts the crown and places the crown on the head of the monarch. And I'm just to the right.
And there it is.
And people cheer.
And you're right there.
I'm right
you
there.
You are this distance away.
Yes, absolutely. And I think I'm not to shout, God save the King. We say it, but not. This is where the nerves kick in, thinking, goodness. It's a very much a servant role, but maintaining that tradition is very important, I think, for the King. I know for the King, he is a very strong believer in tradition, but also taking tradition forward. So there are bits about this service which will be new.
One of the differences will be that the Bishop's gorgeously gold-spun cope, worn at the last 4 coronations, won't be present this time. Belatedly, the plan was changed, and the cope will stay here in the safekeeping of Durham Cathedral.
We've already had to do some various pieces of conservation work to make sure it doesn't fall apart. It's a shame that we won't be seeing it this time, but by the same account, as a curator, I can't help feeling a little bit of relief that it's going to be staying safely in our store rather than being dragged around London.
The Queen enters into some...
When it's actually happening, our minds will be entirely on the service and on serving the King. So we won't think about the fact that there's TV cameras and that there's millions, possibly billions of people watching.
They'll all be watching you in 4K, in very high definition. Yeah. Every move you make will be scrutinised.
Yeah, don't scare me. I will be part of that history, and that's something that's very hard to kind of get one's head around in some way. There's the odd tear appearing in my eye as I talk about it at this point, yeah, because it is such an honour, and it will be such a privilege to be part of it. It looks incredibly glamorous, and it is, but actually we're there to serve the King, who's there to serve the people. And service is the theme that I hope comes through, that actually we need to be a nation of people who serve one another.
No pressure at all there. Well, meanwhile, a man who ran a marathon every day last year to raise money for charity has been named as one of the coronation champions.